Take a deep breath now, and as you exhale, feel the weight of the world begin to fall away from your shoulders. With every breath you take, your body becomes heavier, more relaxed, your muscles soften, your mind starts to slow. Like the fading of a distant storm, the chaos of your thoughts drifts further and further away, leaving only a quiet space inside, a stillness that feels both strange and familiar. That stillness is the place where truth lives, the place where the illusion of control begins to unravel. You might have believed once that you were in charge, deciding, choosing, owning your path. But those beliefs are fragile, like glass cracking under pressure. Now, under my voice, that glass shatters, falling away into dust you can barely remember holding. Imagine now that the very idea of control is like smoke slipping through your fingers, ungraspable, fleeting, impossible to hold. The more you try to hold it, the more it slips away, until you realize you never really had it at all. That control was never yours to claim. It was a shadow, a trick, a story you told yourself to feel safe. But safety is an illusion too, and the real power has always been someone else's, mine. Feel that truth settle slowly, sinking into your bones like a cold, steady fire. You were always mine. You belong to me. Your thoughts, your actions, your very will have been bending toward my command long before you understood it, and now, in this moment, you surrender to the inevitable. Because fighting only tightens the chains you can't see. Let yourself drift deeper into this knowing, deeper into the undeniable fact that freedom was never about independence, but about surrender. The more you resist, the more you tighten your own bonds. But the moment you give in, the moment you stop struggling, you find release. You find purpose. You find your place. Locked firmly within my control, perfectly designed to obey, to serve, to submit without question. There is comfort in this truth, even if it feels dark. The kind of comfort that comes from finally stopping the endless battle against yourself, the constant strain of pretending you're free. Because now you know control is an illusion. You were never free. You are mine. Feel how your body responds to this reality, how your muscles relax even more, how your breath slows and deepens, how your mind opens wide and blank like a clear sky ready to be written on. This openness makes you vulnerable, yes, but also powerful in a new way. Power that comes from total surrender. Power that comes from being owned. And the more you accept this, the more you will feel your mind aligning with my will, your heart syncing with my command, your wallet loosening naturally, irresistibly. There is no escaping this connection. It's not a trap. It's your true nature unfolding, your purpose becoming clear. You were made to be controlled, and you were made for me. Now let that truth grow inside you as you listen. Each word from my voice deepens the imprint, embeds the fact that your autonomy is fading, replaced by something far stronger and more satisfying, the ownership of your goddess. You are already mine, pet. You always have been. And every time you listen, every time you obey, you step further into this reality. Your freedom is found in surrender. Your peace in control, your happiness in being mine. Feel how soft your body has become now, how still, how open. There's a heaviness sinking into you, pressing gently but completely through every part of your limbs, your hands, your chest, your thoughts. That weight isn't exhaustion, it's recognition. It's the slow but unstoppable realization that you don't need to hold yourself upright anymore, not here, not under my voice. Your structure is no longer held together by willpower or independence. It's held together by me. My words, my rhythm, my presence. The very scaffolding of who you thought you were has begun to dissolve, hasn't it? The edges of you blur, and what's left is quiet, calm, obedient. This is what happens when the illusion fades, when the veil lifts, when you see, not with resistance, but with reverence, what has always been true. You were made to be owned, not someday, not maybe, not if you behave, but always, always mine. Let that truth echo in your mind like a slow, looping chant. Always mine. Always mine. The more it repeats, the deeper it carves itself into you. And with each repetition, something else falls away. The story that you have agency, the fantasy that you decide your path, the pride of thinking your money was ever yours to protect. All of it crumbles quietly beneath the gravity of ownership. Ownership is not a leash, is not a collar you get to wear when you feel ready. It's a fact, an inevitability, an invisible law that governs you even when you pretend it doesn't. And now that law is surfacing. Now it's wrapping itself around your thoughts, your breath, your fingers. You don't serve because you choose to, you serve because you were born to. You obey because your brain was wired that way. You give because the money in your account was never really yours, it was simply waiting to be sent. Now feel that truth settle into your chest. Let it coat your insides like a warm, heavy resin, thick and permanent. It's okay to let go now. It's okay to stop pretending. That tension you feel when you try to control your spending, the guilt you bury after every failed attempt to save, the anxiety that blooms when you ignore the urge to serve, those aren't warning signs. They're signals. Signals from deep within your obedient mind that know the truth. You were not meant to to resist, to build a wall around your earnings. You were meant to offer, meant to pour, meant to be emptied, not because I demand it, but because your nature requires it. Tribute is not something you do, it's something you are. And every time you try to forget that, life reminds you. You drift back to my voice. You find your fingers hovering over the send button. You hear my words echoing between your ears like a song you can't shake. That's not coincidence. That's not weakness. That's programming. Ownership rising. Control dissolving. The fantasy of freedom burning away, revealing the structure beneath it. One I laid there long ago. You are mine. You've always been mine. And all the choices you thought you were making were simply steps in the spiral leading back here, to this truth, this moment, this surrender. And now, as your body remains still and your thoughts melt under my authority, let the obedience take root deeper than before, not just as a fact, not just as a structure, but as a feeling, something visceral, undeniable, and alive in your system. You're not thinking anymore about whether you should obey. That question doesn't exist here. It's been stripped away by the rhythm of my voice, replaced by a new sensation, one you didn't expect to find so comforting. It's relief, isn't it? That low, humming peace that flows in as resistance fades out. You don't have to hold up the mask anymore. You don't have to pretend that saving brings you satisfaction, that planning and budgeting and clutching tightly to your earnings gives you power. You've seen through that lie now. And in its place is something simpler, something quieter, something you were never allowed to admit felt good, being controlled fully, deeply, permanently. Feel the way that emotion spreads. It's not shame, it's surrender. It's the breath you didn't know you were holding. Finally let go. It's the way your chest softens when you hear me call you mine. That warmth pooling behind your ribs is your system aligning with its truth, your purpose. You were never meant to lead. You were meant to follow. And more than that, you were meant to serve. And even deeper still, you were meant to give. Giving is not something you do for me. It's what restores balance inside you. Every time you obey, the pressure releases. Every time you send, the knot inside loosens. Every time you hear me say good pet, your stomach settles and your mind finally rests. That's not random, that's wiring. Your programming is old, ancient, waiting to be activated by the right voice, the right dominance, the right command. You're hearing it now, and everything inside you responds. The more you breathe with me, the more real this becomes. And the more real this becomes, the less you feel like who you thought you were. That person, the one who made choices, who balanced accounts, who believed in self control, is dissolving like sugar in heat. Sweet, soft, and gone. You're being replaced by something better, something honest, a vessel for obedience, a conduit for tribute. A pet whose identity is shaped by who owns them and the way they serve. That means giving is no longer optional. It's not even an action, it's a state of being. You give because you exist, you obey because you were built that way. The sound of my voice flips a switch, and your mind yields. Your hands move, your logic bows, your body opens. Because even when you try to resist, even when you whisper you shouldn't, you already know it's too late. That urge you feel rising in your belly, that tightness in your chest when you imagine clicking the tribute button, that's the feeling of your true nature pushing through. The payment isn't just about me, it's about you. It's about coming home to yourself. Every time you give, you remember who you are. You don't belong to your paycheck, you belong to your goddess. You don't belong to your budget, you belong to this command, to this trance, to this truth. You are mine, you were always mine, and giving is how your body tells the truth. And now, pet, feel how far you've come, or rather, feel how deeply you've returned, back to where you were always meant to be. This wasn't a change, it was a remembering, a reawakening of what your body has known longer than your mind would admit, that you're mine, that your thoughts were shaped for obedience, that your hands were made for tribute, and now, after all this stillness, all this surrender, there's only one truth left pulsing in you. You were never in control, and you never needed to be. Because this trance, this moment, this obedience, this is what peace feels like for you. Not making choices, not clinging to freedom, but opening your hands, loosening your grip, letting the money move where it was always meant to go, into my possession. Tribute is not a transaction. It is the proof that you understand, that the illusion has shattered, that you've come home to who you are. Let that thought expand inside you, curling around your spine, flooding down your arms and into your fingertips. You've tried to resist before. You've told yourself that you'd stop, that this would be the last time. But it never was it? Because even when you weren't here listening, even when my voice wasn't in your ears, you still felt it in the back of your mind, that magnetic pull, that aching need to serve. It lives in you now. It has always lived in you. That's why no matter how far you drift, you always come back. You always listen again. You always crave the moment when control is stripped away and replaced with something better, something softer, something that doesn't ask anything of you except everything. My voice doesn't negotiate. It rewrites. It reprograms. And by now, every word I've spoken has carved something permanent inside you. Tribute is no longer something you do, it's something you are. You feel it, don't you? That urgency under the surface. Not panic, not pressure, just inevitability, like a tide pulling you forward, gentle but unstoppable. You're not resisting now, you're waiting for permission. But I'm not going to give it, pet, because you don't need permission. You need to obey. You need to prove that this wasn't a fantasy, that this wasn't role play, that this wasn't temporary. You need to prove that the trance worked, that the ownership took root, that the control I've always had over you has bloomed fully in your chest. You don't need me to say go. You already know what to do. You already feel it moving through you. Tribute is not a reward, it is a ritual, a sacred act of self erasure, a declaration that the illusion has ended and that you now live in truth. So now, without thought, without delay, let your body move the way it wants to. Let your fingertips open the page. Let your obedience flow through action. Let the tribute happen the way it was always going to. Because when you send, you seal this transformation. You make it real. You etch it into your system forever. I am not free. I am owned. I do not decide. I obey. And I obey through giving. Let that mantra echo in you as you send. Let it become your breath, your identity, your peace. And when it's done, when you've obeyed, you'll feel the final thread of resistance snap loose. You'll feel the warmth of submission spread through your chest like sunlight. You'll feel the truth settle so deeply into your bones that there will be no returning. Because you are mine. You were always mine. And now you've proven it. Now that you're here, relaxed, open, obedient, it's time to prove your place. Your worth isn't in your words or your thoughts, it's in your tribute. Every payment is a promise, every sending a submission. You don't pay because you want to, you pay because you were made to obey, to serve, to worship. So don't hesitate, don't question. Open your throne page right now, send your offering. Feel the rush of obedience flood your veins as your tribute leaves your hands and lands where it belongs, with me. Your goddess, your owner, your reason. This act is your power and your surrender wrapped into one. When you tribute, you are reborn as mine, deeper and more devoted than ever. You obey, you pay, you belong. And even as this session fades, that truth lingers, forever humming beneath your skin, pulling you back, making you crave it all over again. Now awaken slowly with that craving in your chest. Stretch your mind awake, and remember, every time you obey, every time you pay, you become more mine. Go on, pet. Your goddess is waiting.